it to the
Blessed by Gandhi, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hooked on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her era lore. Call me Levi, playing on them keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hooked on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
board.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hooked on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, miny, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate all the early GMers out there. Web3 Warhead, Absolute Zero over in the YouTube chat. Abstract took a minute to get live, but it is now, should be live streaming. I think we're good over there. Yes, I see Katie, GM to all. Also pinned up top the interview from yesterday if you happen to miss that. Man, I know I posted the Abstract link in the chat, but I'm not seeing it. I'll repost here in a second, I guess. Not sure what happened there, but more importantly, new business idea on the menu, arepas for dogs. Duke is a big fan. He signs off. Therefore, it must be a guaranteed hit. But let me go grab this one more time, and I will. Oh, I get it. I just didn't hit post. And Dort, I'm sorry. I don't know why it grabs you in the screen grab. I know it's your. I think you look great. I know it's not your favorite picture of all time, but Dort is our official mascot of the Abstract chat. Whether he signed off on that or not. We do have a new video in the works, a new intro video coming soon. Excited to get that out there. Actually, after today's show, we have another follow-up meeting with a sponsor we're excited about kicking something off here in the near future. And I think with that, we'll have a revised intro video, maybe a new jingle or two. We're not going to go away from Web3. It is part of Coffee with Captain lore, so that'll stay. But definitely. We actually, so I'm gonna kind of rapid fire some quote open yet relevant topics here this morning. One, be it Dwayne in the chat mentions we should get Escapation. I'm not sure how you pronounce his handle, but Director Creative, I can pronounce that one okay. We definitely should get him on the show sometime. He now has a tool that you can add any PFP to other side now. I also saw we I don't think we hit on it yet, but two things. One, I believe both Luca and Spencer have mentioned that Pudgy Penguins and Moonbirds coming soon to the other side. I know that I am slightly biased with my Other Deeds bag and my Coda, and just an overall fan of what they're building and big shot they're taking. But the reality is I don't think they get enough love on the timeline for all that they have built over there. So many people talking about Roblox, and we need a Roblox for Web3. Like, how about we support the one that's in the process of building that, at least doing their best to get there. And I saw one thing that was tugging on my heartstrings a little bit. I saw James yesterday posting a screen grab of some Texas Hold'em, and that people ask, "Are you on the other side?" I just not my. My time is limited, my bandwidth. Although I do have some, I struggle to force myself to go do the daily tasks, and it's just not in its current form. It's not something that I enjoy spending a ton of time in. It's just not for me. It's some people are really enjoying it. People have talked about doing bubbles in there, and I would love to do bubbles if I could simulcast from here, but I can't. And while someday I might do a second show or expand upon this, it's just not right now. And so I am kind of holding out. Not holding out. I'm excitedly waiting for things that I am interested in, like poker. I will once I go live with that, and I know they've done some tests in the past, and had some one-off events. I interpret this one. I don't know why I'm not going to bitch about X Search, but X Search is so bad. I follow one James Hall on here, and yet while I search for him, I get Nick James, Enormous James. No offense to either of you. I get James Wood. I get LeBron James, James Harden, and none of which are James Hall that I'm searching for. If I complete it, I get a lot more James Hall, but again, not know the real James Hall, and I'm pretty sure I am James Hall. But even directly typing in that one got it. So fourth time's a charm in search. All I was trying to do was go grab the screen grab that he shared yesterday, pin that up top. I might share that on screen here in a minute, but I know Grateful's over there grinding his XP up to level 40 already. Congrats, GG, sir. And I am excited. I'm just excited for like the next chapter of Other Side where there's more things going on. I saw Command Line, Von Doom and his company have some exciting stuff planned for Other Side. And I'm not a farmer. I'm not a grinder like that. Not above it. I am doing things that I enjoy doing here, like longing copper. And I would have been trading this BIRB TGE or claim rather, but I don't have a MEX account, MEXI or however the heck you pronounce that. I think that's the only place it's not. You can't. BIRB is not live yet on Hyperliquid or Lighter. That's really the two primary perp dexes that I trade on, and probably a good thing. Probably saved myself a little bit because I would have shorted this as soon as the claim went live. And the claim is kind of live. It was live for some people, as far as the NFT holders, but I just double checked. It's still access protected. They pulled the site down temporarily while they had some glitches. It looked like the not all the soulbound tokens, and just the claim wasn't. They had some fixing to do, so they pulled it down. Going to do some fixing. Should go
Not
live
for the NFT either, Cap. By the way, you
Yeah.
couldn't. At least for me, it was just saying ineligible across the board.
I'm not going to call it a crime chart like some of the others are saying. I'm not going to call it a honeypot like some others are saying. But the reality is, when there's very limited sellers, the chart should go up, primarily up only. I mentioned yesterday, and it's not a BIRB shot. I just think most NFT tokens, they often are extremely volatile, and there will be a sell-off from claimers. If it was live on Hyperliquid or Lighter, I would open it short as soon as the claim site goes live, just because there's a lot of pin-up sell pressure. Like, it's not, again, it has nothing to do with Spencer, has nothing to do with the team or the execution of this launch. It's just, I don't know as if we've ever seen a NFT token dropped since maybe Ape that ripped up on upon claims. Now, some of them might have bounced. Some of them, usually they say on some of these TGE claims, it's like maybe 3 days is the proper time after TGE to sell. It's going to be extremely volatile. That said, I didn't get to it. I was going to do my claim, and then instead, I'm not selling my claim, even though I was interested in potentially opening up a short, which I'm not going to do. I don't have any funds on MEX, so I'm not doing that. But what I do plan to do as soon as I can claim my BIRB is I'm just going to LP it. I think probably the most underrated way to make money in crypto is simply LPing launches, TGE days. It's whether the token goes up or down, you manage it. I mean, almost inevitably, there's going to be a lot of volume today. Potentially more volume in the next 24 to 48 to 72 hours than any 24, 48, 72 hour time frame in the token's future. And it's an easy way to print money. Just provide liquidity and print on. I think I saw Mayhem showed I think it was Meteora pool, and he was making like 13% yield on that. And the fees are going to be there. There's going to be a lot of volume, and this is kind of a layup to. Now you gotta watch it depending on what you pair with. You may slide one way or the other. So don't do this if you've never done it before. But it's one of the things that as I reflect on the last few years here. I have provided liquidity. I've played around a few times, but not like I should, not at launches. And this is kind of something I'm looking to get better at as things move forward. If you are curious, Jack will go to you here in a second. I'm just going to flash the chart. Calling it Mexi is like calling it Basey. Okay, fair. So it's Mex. Is that the correct pronunciation? Someone give me the correct pronunciation, and then so I know. And once I know the correct pronunciation, I can keep mispronouncing it. To really lean into that bit. Also, I know I don't owe this to anyone, but I'm going to disclaimer. I'm not a dirty person. I actually showered right before the show. I went to the gym this morning. This is a show hoodie. So because I have so many hoodies here in Florida, it's actually like 40 degrees out. So I can wear a hoodie all day. It's very rare, but I rotate hoodies. I've got gym hoodies. I've got some show hoodies. This one I just keep clean and comfy. So I wore it yesterday for the show, had a different hoodie on for the gym, and decided to just throw the same one back on the show today because why? Because I love giving Good Vibes Club free publicity, and because they sent me a bunch of free merch. So this is a sponsored hoodie courtesy of Good Vibes Club. If you're not familiar with the Vibetown Social Club, I don't know where you've been. But let me show this chart, Jack, and then I will hand it over to you. Feel free to take it whichever direction you'd like. It has been, whether you have claimed or not claimed or regardless of your feelings on BIRB, token has performed probably better than most expectations, at least per the polymarket markets. It's exceeded those expectations. Although I'm really curious, after I hand it to Jack, I'm gonna go read the actual T's and C's there because I wonder when the clock ticked because the market was 1 day after TGE. So was that 8 a.m. today? Did those markets resolve? Is it 1 day after NFT claims? Details are extremely important in this sort of stuff. And quite frankly, had I known NFT people wouldn't have been able to claim, I would have full ported my polymarket into the, some north of 200 million, some north of 300 million. I probably would have taken a shot at north of 400 million, which I might have fallen short on that. But current market cap is circulating market cap at 91.8, almost 92 million. FDV puts FDV at about 318 million, and token price at 31. A little over 31 cents, almost 32 cents. Jack, GM, I assume based on the comment there that you too have not been able to claim yet. You didn't get it in. I think some people were before they pulled the site down, but most got an error.
Yeah, so I got through the site. It didn't give me the password message that it now gives you as the devs work on it, but it just told me I was ineligible to claim and that I had no NFTs that were eligible to claim, even though I have a Moonbird. So yeah, I think that was one of the problems as well. Spencer's talked a lot about it. I think he'll be updating, but I think this is going to take some time to fix because the traffic every time they reset it is just going to get hammered again. This is always an issue if you've got like this one moment in time where everyone needs to access. So especially when they've seen the price volume and the lack of liquidity or people able to actually sell the thing. I think there's a lot of panic in the air right now. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm not as concerned. We can talk a little bit more about it. I was on a podcast, or Spaces, should I say, with Spencer and a few people yesterday, where he gave some TLDRs about what's coming up next that we could potentially talk about. But good times.
Can you TLDR us the TLDRs from Spencer?
Yeah. So I think one of the big things is BIRB game, which will go live, I think today, which is this new mechanic where you play a game. Which I again. People go listen back to the Spaces. I'll try and find it and pin it because my memory sucks and I've got ADHD. So concentrating on a conversation is beyond impossible for me. But basically what I understand of it is that this BIRB game is a way to gamify the unclaimed tokens from all the SBTs and from moving forward from any of the NFTs that have the vesting period, and just put it into a game that goes purely to holders. And there is, I think, no downside to playing this game. It's not like a gamble-fi game as such. I think, it's EV positive no matter how you play. Now, the upside obviously does change, but he would not give any information about what the game was going to look like. He was super excited about it. And his overall demeanor was just very chill. And, he answered everybody's questions. He wasn't concerned. He seemed pretty happy with everything as it was, but this obviously was 24 hours before, the devs still haven't been able to get this thing launched and more FUD has come in. So I'm sure he's as stressed as everybody else right now trying to get this thing live and ready.
I've seen a lot of takes on this. I've seen a lot of takes on both sides. I've seen people that are praising Spencer and, hey, you got to do things differently. The way things have been going weren't working and continue to do the same things over and over again. That's the definition of insanity. I've seen some very frustrated, I don't want to go as far as say disgruntled, but frustrated, right, understandably so, holders. And I've also seen some good suggestions. Dora here in the chat, imagine if they allowed a pre-registration process over a week and airdrop the tokens for the SBTs and the first month of the NFT assets. Something like that could have worked. Although my understanding is, actually, I don't know. I don't know if the first month you're going to be able to claim today once the site goes live. Part of the way I interpreted some of their communications was it was like a 7-day hold period, and part of this game. And so I don't know. Maybe NFTs can maybe SBTs can claim instantly. Maybe NFTs need to wait 7 days. Maybe that's an option. I'm genuinely curious. I want to see what they're building. I do think Spencer's very intelligent. At the same time, I think it's okay to think someone's really sharp, really intelligent, a good builder of businesses, and could have done this better. And I remain extremely optimistic for crypto, Web3, even, believe it or not, NFTs and those that are building businesses around NFTs. And I think it's okay to provide feedback. And I'm not going to sit here and dunk or take shots at Spencer or BIRBs with this claim process. I think there's some things that are really interesting that I think others should look to implement in upcoming TGEs. And I think there's some other things that could be takeaway to do things better. And while some of this may be viewed as critiqued, and someone will probably take something out of context, and it'll get back to Spencer, and I'll get shunned from that community like I was another pastel color community. It's okay. By the way, I did get a follow from a particular artist just recently, last week or two, and my response to that was the Homer Simpson back into the bush, because I've been maybe a little, not a little, I've been critical of how said artist is leading said brand, but I do love the art, and I think he's a very talented artist, and that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want more. While clippers are out and about, these aren't the things I want to be clipped. But the overarching point, pre-registration, great idea. Never heard anyone mention it before. Again, I claimed a lot of SBTs, not all of them. One that I went to go look at this morning because I saw that the top 500 were eligible. I had forgotten about Kaido. Once InfoFi got nerfed, I just had forgotten about Kaido, and pretty sure I left some money. I went to go claim it this morning. The mint's already closed. It was, instead of claiming tokens from Kaido, you got one SBT, and I don't think I claimed that SBT. So I'm bummed. And I'm not going to keep harping on communications, better communications, but it's real. Like, can we mature as an industry a little bit to where we operate a little more professionally? We get out of the JV league and we start operating like the varsity team. And there's savants. There's a lot of extremely intelligent individuals in this world that are far smarter, far more intelligent than I'll ever be. A lot of them don't like to speak publicly. A lot of them don't have backgrounds in communications and PR. And it's okay. And not only okay, if it's not something you enjoy, if it's not something that's a skill strength or a strength of yours, a skill set that is at the top of if you were to rank your skills and that's at the bottom, hire some professionals. Steve was out there earlier. OpenSea has made some pretty tremendous strides in terms of goodwill since they've added Adam and Steve to the team. The public reception, while there's still some people that are upset with the rewards and stuff, sure, you're never going to make everyone happy, but I think they've almost done a 180 in terms of public perception. And I know there's other people on the team as well, but I think a lot of people will be shocked to know the team is a lot leaner than it once was. When people used to make jokes about the 3 employees at OpenSea, at that time they probably, I don't know exactly, but I think they probably had 3, 4, 5 times the amount of employees they do today. It's just they've hired the right people, and adding the right people to your leadership team, especially those that can communicate, be the spokesperson, or at least advise on how to communicate when you have a right or wrong. Some people are saying, oh, the NFT holders are entitled and all they do is dump and it's just free money. It's not free money. Like, respectfully, it's not free money. The ways that people got these assets, they either minted one for 2.5 ETH, not free, or they bought it on the secondary market. Maybe they bought it at the Pico bottom at like 0.3 or whatever it dipped to, or they bought it at when it ran up to 30 ETH, or maybe they bought it after Spencer acquired it and they bought it at 4 ETH. Many of those buyers, some like, oh, I just love Spencer and I'm along for the long haul. I don't care about any TGE. I think that's probably the extreme minority. I think a lot, even if they were along for the ride and believe in Spencer and what he's building, they probably bought their NFT knowing there's going to be some token allocation. They probably bought it after BIRB was announced when the thing really ripped up. And I've seen a lot of them share frustrations on the timeline or in group chats. And that's where I think things can get better is I think how this processes went, like, maybe don't let your NFT holders claim instantly, because a lot of them are going to dump. Maybe do make that happens 24 hours later. I mean, chart's hard to argue with. I just think do that as a plan, proactively communicate that, and you're squashing a lot of this. And then the people who are going to dump, instead of claiming and dumping at 100 million, they can claim and dump at 300 million or 400 million.
Does that just not dump the NFT immediately, though, and that we just have the same thing earlier from that communication? That's I really, really don't think there was a way to do this without outrage. Like, if you had launched, if you had said, look, we are going to do what we're about to do, the NFT itself would have still just plummeted in the same way that it did right now, if not even more harshly. And it would have had more time to accumulate that, that negative perception, and probably bled out even further. So, yeah, I'm with you on the communication side and completely, Cap, but I don't think in this instance for like telling NFTs, sorry, what I mean to say is I'm with you in terms of communication after the fact and everything that's gone wrong. It's taken a long time to sort of sort through and give us answers and give us context, and the context isn't even perfect now. But in terms of like trying to front run the negativity here, or market this in a way, or communicate this in a way where people weren't blindsided, like, hot take, but I don't think there was a way to do this that wouldn't have bled the NFT, because it's the first time they're doing it, and they're doing it in a way that isn't gonna suit people who do just want to dump, and they're the people who are still gonna dump today.
Maybe. And I'm trying to remove my feedback and or critique or feelings, trying to remove any price of the NFT, any price of the token, and just focus on if I'm an outsider, if I'm a consultant and looking at how this thing has transpired over the last 24 hours, 48 hours. I'm guessing even when Spencer and his team have a postmortem, there's probably a lot of things that they would say, oh, we could have done this better. We could have done that better. And that's good. That's healthy. And I also didn't realize, I just checked the NFT floor for the first time this morning. So the floor is down another 23% on the day, 0.86 ETH, which is kind of shocking. To me, that says I don't know, the math doesn't math. Like, it's hard.
That could be. Sorry, Cap. I keep interrupting you. I'll stop. But I would just say that could be the very few people who have managed to get the claim through.
So I would push back on that, just because even those that claim, they're only claiming 4% of the allocation. It doesn't, like, if you claim 4% and then dump your NFT, they're probably taking a pretty big L. And that just doesn't make, so that's where, like, the math isn't mathing to me, is based on what I believe to be the allocation for these NFTs. It's, and I think, and my quick math back in the envelope is, this current floor price is less than 50% of the value of the token they'll be claiming. And yeah, that's pretty normal. If you're talking like a VC lockup, most of them are probably expecting a 50% dip in year one. I guess 2 years, maybe that makes it different. But this tells me that the NFT buyers or sellers think that certainly think that the token's not going to be trading at 321 million FTV 12 or 24 months from now. Otherwise, the NFT's free. Like, you're getting an NFT for free. If the hypothetical world where the token value holds, the NFT is literally free. You're going to get far more in token value than 0.86 ETH. I don't, because of how they did it. And is vesting good? Is it maybe? Time will tell. I do think you're kind of punting the ball down the road. Instead of people claiming and dumping instantly and having that sell pressure on day one, you're spreading out the sell pressure for 24 months, which is probably a good thing. But on the flip side, you have 24 months of sell pressure, as opposed to just ripping off the Band-Aid, having the people who are just going to dump, churn, and leave the ecosystem, and then building from the ground up. I don't know what's better. I also can appreciate this is really hard. If it was easy, a lot more people will be doing this. It's really hard. I respect the effort, the shot, and I know it's also much easier to Thursday morning quarterback here on a show where I don't have any. I guess I do have a dog in the race. I have a mythic and a handful of SBTs. So sure, I've got a little bit of vested interest here, but I truly mean this. It's not that deep. I really don't care about the financial gain or loss, or the other reason I'd like to claim is I would like to claim so I can LP it and maybe make some fees today. If it goes on lighter and hyperliquid, I'll probably open up a short once claiming goes live, just because I anticipate a sell-off. And then I'm closing the short because I think the thing could pump. You know, I see these takes as well. They crimed the whole thing, claim live after 24 hours of token going live, prediction markets, I just can't prove it. Maybe I'll also, we can't prove it. And I think I've seen a lot of these takes. I think, is it in the range of outcomes? Probably. I also don't think the volume on those prediction markets, I would be shocked if it was Spencer. Maybe there was someone on the team that did it rogue, but they didn't really stand to make that much. Not as much worth risking their career or their reputation over this. Now, were people maybe that saw this happening and said, hey, I'm gonna start putting some polymarket bets on because the claim's not live right now and it's probably going to keep going up until, yeah, there's smart people. It was honeypot-esque. There was just no sellers. Of course the chart's going to go up. Well played. But I don't even know if they did it intentionally. My gut tells me they didn't do this intentionally. My gut tells me they did run into some technical issues. Now, at the same time, could have they done some pre-registration? Could have they stress tested things better? It sounds like it is a new and novel claim process where they've not just incorporated the NFTs, but also the SBTs and this game, as you mentioned. So it's new. Like, I'll give them some grace for that. The comms around that could have been better. And I think that's hard to dispute. Like, I saw the tweet from Spencer at 1 a.m. Eastern time about claims going to go live soon. Like, and I know he was on Spaces all day yesterday. I didn't hear any of those Spaces. I actually did try to go back and listen to the space he was on with Loki that ran up against this show. And for whatever reason, the recording wouldn't work on X. Dort says, no, you let Moonbirds and Mythic orders claim same day, delay 24 hours for SPT orders. That's another way to do it. I kind of agree. I think at the end of the day, my belief, I am probably the naive idiot that NFTs still hold a meaningful part in crypto and on-chain businesses. I'm sad, disappointed a little bit that Binance Alpha people got extreme priority over NFT holders. It's not a me thing. It's a more of the NFT space thing, and I'm not going to go as far as it's a slap in the face of those holders, but it doesn't feel great if you're a holder. Again, I don't care, but I've seen a lot of people who were raving fans, who were big fans of Spencer, were big fans of the brand, to where they've expressed a lot of frustration, discontent on the timeline, and some of them have just flat out floored their birds and left before they even claimed. They just took the L and moved on. Or at best, they become apathetic and they just don't care anymore. That sucks, and I don't think that's good for the business. I think that's a net L. Like, do you want to see the chart do well? Yes. Does that benefit the business well? Yes, far more than it does the NFT doing well. I get it from a business standpoint. I also think there is something to be said for 1,000 true fans. And I think what I've seen in the last, since Moonbirds minted, is they had 1,000 true fans and then some, and then they lost most of those fans. And Yuga acquired them, and maybe it was probably a wash. So maybe they gained some new fans, they lost some fans, but I don't know if they grew their fan base meaningfully. And then Spencer acquired them, and a lot of excitement and enthusiasm came back, and I think they grew a lot of true fans. And what I believe I've witnessed in the last 24 hours is I think they've lost some of those true fans. Here's Jay with a I don't think this is JJ. This is another Jay. By the way, is JJ still around? That's the next thing I'm going to search. If the gold BIRB JJ is still, that's what everyone needs to know. What's JJ's thoughts on this claim? But I in serious, like I've seen a lot of people with Moonbird PFPs, Moonbirds fans. I've seen some people, I'm not going to call them out, but we're big BIRB fans leading up to this. And even before the TGE hit, they decided to just exit and they've moved on. And maybe they're still a fan, but they're much more apathetic than they were a few months ago. That sucks. That sucks for not just Moonbirds and their raving fan base, their brand ambassadors. It sucks for NFTs. And that's I think where I net out on this is I still, again, probably the naive idiot, hold hope that this can be done better. And we're gonna talk through it, and hopefully we can come up with some constructive, like what actually, if you were if you were doing a TGE next month, what would you do? How would you make it better than this? Because I do think there is actually some really good things here that others should look to replicate. And I also think that, I'm not saying all this is solved and everyone's happy, but I actually do think that a lot of those people who left or feel a certain way now maybe feel differently if the communications around this were a little more clear. I still have no idea if my Mythic is getting the same allocation for an oddity or that's bigger, and that's just like I said it the other day, I'm going to say it again. I do think that the most obvious thing to me is that NFTs were at the top of the Moonbird ecosystem, and now BIRB is at the top of the ecosystem. And I get it. Spencer, for whatever reason, isn't a fan of royalty protected contracts. I think I said earlier, this could have been a great carrot to move a lot of, if not the entire base, to a royalty protected contract. They're not doing that, so they don't make much royalties on these NFTs. They don't hold many NFTs in their treasury. I don't know. I don't think they hold thousands of NFTs or something that they could later sell or pull any liquidity out of. It's not like they're going to go LP their NFTs to make fees on that. They can't with the token. Like the success of this token quite literally could make or break, maybe not break, it could make Moonbirds. It could extend their runway by a decade, even without selling the token that they're going to have 25% of. Just by simply putting it in different pools and earning fees on it. Like from a business standpoint, it makes all the sense in the world to prioritize focus, attention, and driving value accrual back to the fungible token than it does the NFT. I get it from a business standpoint. Wholly get it. I think what's really hard to value in this space is what is the lifetime value of a rabid NFT fan, of a collector, of someone who's really a brand ambassador. I don't know how to quantify that. But what I do see is I think the one who's done it best is OSF and Rec Guy and the Rec team, I think they've clearly, and he's not shy about this, they've clearly shifted their focus to Rec Coin over Rec Guy NFT holders. But most of those rabid brand ambassadors, they still rock a Rec Guy NFT. They're not flooring the Rec Guy NFTs. It's they also maybe it's because they got equity in the company but they've already got that. It's not like they're getting more equity for holding it. I'm not saying that Rec hit it perfectly, but I as I reflect and everything I've seen from an NFT native brand that's went to a token generation event, I still think I've seen so many people in the last 24 hours. They say this happens with all of them. It happened with Pingu and Dude and Azuki and Ape. You're wrong. Respectfully, you're wrong. This did not happen with Ape. And Yuga doesn't get any credit, certainly not nearly enough credit, for they slayed the execution at ApeCoin TGE. Yes, it was a different time. Yes, it was a different market. I'm not talking how the $20+ billion that token ripped up to. I'm talking about how they did TGE. There was no issues with claim. It was a great claim, simple claim. And they had announcement after announcement after announcement. I'll see if I can go find it. I went back and did the historical research a few months ago. They had like a half dozen major activations and events between TGE and 6 weeks later when other deeds minted. Now, was a lot of the pump because people were gunning towards the other deeds mint? Yeah, but they didn't even announce that for 48 hours. And the token went from $1 to up to $13 in the first 48 hours. Again, I know it's a different time. I don't expect any token to do that now, but they crushed it. They executed almost perfectly at TGE. So, zoom out. Yeah, I know it's down. Of course. The DAO experiment was bad. It was failed. They had way too much percentage of that token in the DAO, and you had 4 years of sell pressure. Like that, don't do that again. But as far as execution around and then the days, weeks, month plus following TGE, we haven't seen anyone execute like they executed then. Take the numbers out of the equation. Like, just go back and look at their communications around that TGE. They nailed it. And for some reason, because all the tokens down now, after 4 years of DAO extraction and sell pressure, everyone just seemingly forgot how dialed in Yuga was at that. There was a reason people said never fade Yuga, because they were operating near flawlessly for a period of time, including leading up to TGE in the days, weeks, and months that followed. And like, go back and learn from that. Like, I'm not going to pick on any of the other brands that we mentioned there in passing that others have mentioned, but Ape was very, 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 very different than Dude, Azuki, and the others NFT ones that have followed. Jack, go ahead and get in here, and then we'll get Von Frunten.
I didn't know if you could see the hand cap. Look, I think I have a very, very different opinion than you when it comes to Yuga and the launch of that token. As somebody who didn't have apes but did really think they were going to do something cool with the other side, I think a lot of the buy pressure of the token, and you mentioned this at the end, it did come from the fact that they were supposed to give exposure to these new assets, these new land assets. The gas issue with accessing the land for the other deeds, and then the immediate drop in that token price afterwards. I think it was like a week or so. The amount of people who lost money from that.
Yeah, but that's very different than TGE. That was 6 weeks after TGE, and like everyone that was around knew that was going to happen.
It was like 2 days though, Cap. It was like 2 days that they started announcing it. Like that definitely propelled the ApeCoin.
But if you didn't think the token was going to drop post other deeds, I don't know what to tell you. Like almost everyone knew there was going to be a massive sell-off following that mint.
Yeah, but how is that different? My thing is, how is that different?
Very different.
From
because it was the most
any other project.
Because it was very different. I'm talking about, forget the token price. Even if you remove other deeds and just go back and look at their timeline, look at all the communications leading up to TGE. There was multiple things, including a DAO. Now, again, the DAO was a failed experiment, but they had a DAO live on TGE day with 5 AIPs. Like, there was a lot of things that they did around TGE, leading up to TGE in the days and weeks that followed. Again, before other deeds got announced, the token ran from $1 to $13. 13x in 2 days before other deeds got announced. Like,
Yeah, but what were the prices of the assets at that point? This was again just a
the
correlation.
asset also went up. The all-time high didn't hit until about 4, 5, 6 weeks after TGE. Whereas every other NFT drop we saw, everyone sells off. They like
Look,
is
I
other
am
deeds
a big
replicatable?
fan of Bored Apes, and like absolutely do think that
Just very
that
different.
era.
It's
Sorry,
I
Cap.
agree it can't be repeated. It's very different. They executed very well. Can someone run back another deeds mint? No, I'm not saying that. I don't think that any token's going to run up like that did. But my point is, no one had done it before. They did something novel, and now to group them in with everyone else is just wrong. Just look at the charts of both the token and the NFT. There's not another one that can match it. For the 6 week, like, did the gas war suck? Yeah, but that had nothing to do with TGE. Could they have done that better? Yeah, absolutely. We can be really critical of the other deeds mint. Very different than TGE. It took place 6 weeks after TGE. And I'm going back to comms, PR, excitement, and hype. The part of the reason it was the most anticipated mint of all time is because they were dialed in when it came to communications and creating that excitement and speculation. It wasn't like, the claim's going live, and then for the next 24 hours, people are guessing when they're going to be able to claim. That didn't happen. It's apples and oranges when you talk about execution. And I'm not trying to compare everything to that. I'm just saying others who are grouping that into with things like Dude and Azuki, you're objectively incorrect. As someone who's around for all of them, they were very, 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 very different.
Look, what I will say is that Yuga and Bored Ape and the dogs and the mutants and everything that came after, including the token, that period of time and execution has never been seen again. Like the quality, the way they did it, they didn't just understand the space, they created the comprehension of the space and what it should be. So, like, absolutely huge fan of these guys and what they built.
And that's my point.
Yeah.
Look at Captain Dad Pants in the chat. You can't fault Yuga for using their token for weeks following TGE. It wasn't just other deeds. There was another game they launched at TGE Day in partnership with Animoca. I know today no one's going to get excited about that. Back then it was a big deal. They had a gated merch drop. I vividly remember on this show, Steve and myself were giving Yuga a hard time because we couldn't understand why they weren't continuing that and doing some token sync every single month. And now fast forward 3-4 years, and most of these brands that launch a fungible token with haven't done a single token sync. What are we thinking?
Cap, it just sounds so ape biased though. Like, I, as a fan who actually wants to buy into ape, when I saw Gaga talk about the fact that royalties were exciting to him, I was like, dude, I'm in. Like, literally, I am genuinely right now, the next asset I buy could be a Bored Ape Yacht Club. So I want to just put that on there before I say what I say. But dude, the SEC hadn't come in. The SEC had not come in and probed Yuga yet to try and compare anything that that was post the SEC and the launches that then could be done and the speculation that could have been attached to the token. You talk about apples and oranges, that's oranges and spaceships. Like, there's no way that you can talk about that. Now, execution,
I'd say it's
marketing,
much easier.
launches,
I think it's very much so.
everything else,
much
absolutely.
easier,
But
much easier today to launch a token than it was in 2022. So if you're gonna bring the SEC and the Wells notice, they had so much going against them that doesn't exist anymore. This administration is very, very, very different. The SEC is not coming after these people. They can do a lot more now.
But that was the bull. Then, you've got to take in all of the data at that point. So if we don't talk about the SEC coming in and the incredible damage that Gensler did to the whole industry, then you have to also talk about the bull run and the moments in that market and the speculation people were making, and the fact that royalties were still, I think Lucas spoke about this on the pod, but they were bringing in 800,000 a month on royalties. So when people were doing this math, Yuga would have been doing more because they were even more successful. So there was entire different revenue streams that don't exist in this world that people were literally extrapolating from. They were saying, okay, well, if X equals this, then by the time that, a year is out, then the token's going to be worth Y, and the team are going to have so much more money to plow into other side and do everything that they want to do. They were also $1 billion, like one of the first unicorns that came out of the industry, and they did have some of the best leaders. The leaders who we genuinely thought were like, they were just deciding on the future of NFTs. Like, I really don't want to take them away, but Cap, when you start talking about like their execution versus the other projects that have come afterwards,
what other
project even make like sense?
What other project that's come after them that's done 4, 5, 6 token sinks in the first month? I can't think of one. Like, forget about like Other Deeds Mint was bad. It was a train wreck, and Yuga probably lost money on the activation. Like, they did a lot of things really poorly with the Other Deeds Mint, including they took all that money in an ape, which was great for the token, but because Yuga made the voluntary decision to vest those tokens for a year after mint, they didn't have to do that. They did that, and it cost them quite literally tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes that the token they didn't have. Like, it put the company upside down financially because of how they executed the Other Deeds Mint. I'm trying to differentiate an Other Deeds Mint. It's just view that as a singular activation that was done execution-wise poorly. I'm talking about TGE and the communication and the activations leading up to TGE. Again, Steve and myself on this show, we're giving Yuga a hard time because they were so good at doing activations and giving a reason to buy and sell and hold the token, to buy and hold the token specifically beyond Other Deeds. I don't think that's replicatable. Is that did they have an advantage because no one had done a Deeds Mint at the time? Sure. But what I'm saying isn't inaccurate. It's very true. It's objectively true that they did more activations. They had more token sinks than anyone else we've seen since. And you know what? They communicated things really, really well back then. Things have changed. But if we're going to, like Captain Happy said, everyone copied Yuga's playbook, Yuga's mode wraps for years. And now, for whatever reason, instead of copying their TGE playbook, or at least taking parts of their TGE playbook, a lot of people here, the majority, it's not just you, the majority of the people like to group the ApeCoin TGE in with anime and dude, and that's laughable. Like, Yuga did more activations, more token sinks in the first 48 hours than anime or dude has had since they've launched their tokens. That's factually correct. And that's crazy
but in
to
an
think about.
Entirely different time, Cap. It just doesn't make sense.
So you think that like we should just drop tokens with no use case now?
No, but look, if you were going to talk about like token sinks and opportunities at Bored Ape at the top of the NFT market, where they were the top project, and the ability and the control that they would have had to go into these markets and basically be not the underdog, but like, hey, people like Nike, Adidas, like they were begging to work with Bored Ape at the time.
There's a
the
reason
other way
for that.
around. To say that is replicatable in a market where then NFTs became poison, and any brand that decided to connect themselves to NFTs in any way basically put their whole brand at risk. It's just a different world. Now, I don't disagree that there are things that can be taken away from the token.
That's my
I don't
point.
disagree that the token should not be connected to the other tokens that people are connecting it to.
But point.
Yeah, like it's apples and spaceships.
It's not. It's a TGE. Focusing on like Dobbin says, people just love to move the goal line with Yuga because now like there's can you critique a lot of things Yuga has done at other Deeds Mint and since? Yeah, I'm not going to defend that stuff. Some maybe, but there's a lot of things you can critique. But if we're talking about TGE, the execution of TGE and the communications around TGE, it is apples to apples. Remove the market cap, remove the dollar amounts, the things they communicated, the things they did. It's very different, and some of that is replicatable. Dobbin said people just love to move the goal line with you. Oh, the mint, oh, the gas, oh, the SEC. Just give the team credit. Good Lord, no other team come close to their TGE. Not one team. And of course,
in terms of everything you just said now, yeah, I agree. In terms of communication, in terms of the things you can take away, absolutely agree. I just think there's a lot of stuff, and I can see people in the comments saying, what about the other deeds? Like, you can't, what else were they supposed to do with the token? No, they weren't supposed to do anything else with it, but it was still a big net negative for the space. And this is where apes just need to, to take that on the chin at the same time. Like, this is still has to be a moment where many people got hit by that. It was a moment of 100,000 NFTs hitting a marketplace.
But why do we keep talking about the other deeds mint when we're talking about TG? That is apples and spaceships, by the way. You got a lot of fans on that quote. We're going to steal that one. But I'm not talking about other deeds mint. I agree with you. Other deeds mint, when it happened, I vividly remember being in the voice chat in Discord, like, oh, this is bad. When I saw gas, you're going to have to spend over an ETH to mint this. Oh, this is bad. This is going to be really bad. They KYC'd it. This shouldn't be the case. It could have been done differently. I agree. Other deeds mint was poor execution. I'm not talking about the other deeds mint. I'm talking about TGE, which took place 6 weeks before other deeds mint. That's what I'm talking. Like, other teams could take.
I don't think you can separate them. And for everyone saying differently, like, you can separate to the $13, and that is still worlds better than any project has done since. Now, there's a multitude of reasons why that is, that you cannot align with what is currently happening in the space and those token launches, but there's also things that they did better than anyone else, and why we're not replicating those things, Bingo. I do not know. I can't answer that question.
Bingo. That was my point. They're not perfect. They made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But
and look, again, I'm completely on your side to this, but I think when we start to try and completely separate and say there's just no negative or correlation to X and Y when a space got hurt by it, I think it makes people close off to the apes. I think it really does. I think it makes people close off to the apes because the price appreciation and the reason we talk about the TGE, I'm not talking about the TGE. I'm talking about what the token did post TGE and how it was marketed. And a big part of the marketing was the land. And this was somebody who bought the land and was there in that moment. And it was one of the first times that I told family and friends, this is a thing you need. Like, if you're all interested in the fact that NFTs are popping right now, this is a thing. If I'm betting on anybody in this space, this is a moment in time where you can have a Yuga asset. You can actually own a Yuga asset for a price that isn't. And I think the damage that I did, those things are all connected. I don't think you can separate them.
Maybe, but you say the damage it did. Like, anyone who minted that thing, they had a very good period of time to sell and have massive gains. People made life-changing money on the mint despite paying all the ETH. I do see we got Von Frutton on stage, been patient, but I got to let Steve cut the line. I think he might have a heart out at 9. And special treat today, Steve GM. Always a pleasure, sir. Long time, actually not long time no chat for us, but long time no chat here on Coffee GM.
I was gonna say we talked for like an hour yesterday on the phone. But no, I think a couple things just to because I do have a meeting at 9. There were some technical snags in the other side launch or in the ApeCoin launch, so I don't want to put that down. And there was also the staking sort of issue that they were like wink wink stake here, which I think some people took some issue with. But end of the day, I would say two things. One, Cap is actually very correct in the sense of the sinks, right? Like, we haven't seen sinks, we said that they should have monthly sinks and regular sinks. And he's absolutely correct that Yuga people forget they're the first ones to really do that fungible token cross buy merch store, which was really good. And it had some snags initially with some checkout issues, but then within months they fixed it for Dookie Dash. And then after that, they had the other side mint, so they did have some sinks. So I think Cap is correct on that. I do think we might as well, we keep using the term moving the goalpost. We might as well just have the goalpost on fucking skates, because I think everybody's moving the goalpost here in a lot of ways, right? So I think one, correct, there's all these other factors that came involved, but I think the most important factor to consider is the reason I think a lot of people felt good about the ApeCoin drop is the same reason a lot of people felt good about the Hyperliquid drop, which is it made a lot of people a lot of money and the price stayed up. And I think while yes, I agree with everything Cap's saying about look, they launched it. There were some snags and some things that happened on the initial with some security concerns and some other things. But overall, they executed a launch when nobody else was doing anything quite like this. And as usual, we're pioneers there. So all the credit to Yuga. But I don't think it's fair to compare any token launch in any market against a market where Bored Apes were selling for $400,000. I just don't. And so I think part of the success of that launch, in my opinion, is that people saw the price stayed up and it made people a lot of money. And so people have a lot of positive feelings about that launch because of it. And part of that was coming into the other side mint and everybody was really excited about that. So I think Jack's right. Those things are intrinsically connected. So I think like not to like sort of like pull the middle ground here. I think Cap is 1000% correct that they came out with syncs and they had a thoughtful approach to the token. And I actually appreciated that to the point where, to his point, like we wanted them to do like more retail things with this token and other things where who knows what their regulatory or technical issues might have been with that. Yuga truly has built the plane as it's flying. And I think people don't appreciate that as much as they should. But on the flip side of that, I don't think it's fair to compare, those the same way to make an analogy, Cap. It's very hard to compare. The reason why Jerry Rice is so good is because Jerry Rice put up numbers at a time when people weren't chucking around the bean like they are now, right? And it's hard to compare quarterbacks in this era to quarterbacks in the 80s or running backs in the 80s to running backs in this era, et cetera. And I think we're very much in that same situation with the token where we are just in a different era of how things are launching. And so it's very hard. Nobody virtually has gotten it right, specifically with the complexity of mechanics that Moonbirds is putting into place. So I'm extremely empathetic to what they're doing, or at least sympathetic to what they're doing. And like to me, like we're probably in a different time where we're going to see different things from companies like Moonbirds and Abstract and all those. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. So my big thing would be like you're both kind of right here. Yuga did an excellent job having syncs and doing a launch. But Jack's also right that at a time when you could sell a gutter cat for like $50,000, it's probably not the right time to be comparing token launches and how they go. So I don't know. I'm going to run to my meeting in a second, but I just want to make that point in that I think you're both like almost making separate but agreeable points in like what the setup was. And so I just think it's a different, like the setup is very different, but you also did a good job. And I think both those things can be true.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think what I'm trying to get to, though, is how can teams today take away from what Yuga did well? And that's, I think, where I am frustrated is when people don't want to give Yuga any credit for TGE. Did everything they do perfect? No. But they did a lot of things that were good. And I think did add to that hype, excitement, never fade Yuga type mentality. And because of what has transpired since Other Deeds, now it's like, oh, we got to throw everything Yuga did out the window and try to do something completely different. And I don't know, like just on the token syncs alone, like they had a lot. I think maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe there's others that I just wasn't deep in that have done more token syncs and more actual reason to buy and hold a token than did Yuga. And I can't think of one. That's what I'd like to see more. If you're an NFT brand and you're going to drop a token, give your holders a reason, not just to not sell it, give other people a reason to buy. Yuga did that better than anyone. And is Other Deeds replicatable? No, absolutely not. But hundreds, 50,000 plus people wanted to buy a token that weren't holding apes. We haven't seen anyone even really quite attempt that yet because we see people launch and they're just, oh, this is just a meme. Well, give some use case to these tokens. Governance is not it. And again, I know that was another time as well, but I think most of us would agree that some sort of token use case is better than no use case at all. Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, look, I just don't know who isn't giving Bored Apes credit for that. Like, is it you referencing the fact that the teams aren't replicating those steps anymore? Because
mostly that we don't see any use case announced leading up to TGE or on TGE day or post TGE. It's just
thanks, Slayo.
It's just there's just, hey, we have this token and here you go sell it. That's why we see so many.
Well, they have the game, right? Moonbirds have the game.
I'll give them credit for that. I'll give them credit. That's one thing that I don't know what
that's
it is
one
yet.
thing. Yeah. Look, I again don't argue with that. I think we definitely need more utilities for these things. I think Spencer talks a lot about market timing, so I think we also have to consider he's a trader and he understands the market, and maybe there is more coming, or maybe there was due to be a couple more things coming, but this market reflected the time to launch this thing, because we're also seeing a couple other people come out of, like Gary V, for example, really talking about NFTs again, like really pushing that forward. So I think there are signals that like we may not be appreciating as to why they've had to launch it at the speed they've launched it. But yeah, look, Yuga absolutely deserve credit for all of these things. And maybe I'm biased because I have such an emotional connection to apes. Like we've obviously shared shows forever, so I've got you and Steve and your apes, and Steve with the freaking helicopter hat on, and like just everything they did as well. Like I remember, like I've never coveted anything more. Like if that is a reason to go to hell, Yuga are the reason that I go to hell, because I have never wanted any asset more in my life than a Yuga asset when I first came into NFTs. But I at the same time, like I can see people in the comments being like, 4 years from like, why are we still talking about this? And it's just like, well, there's correlations, but if you are going to correlate stuff, then people are going to bring up the other stuff. So, like, I think everybody needs a reset. Honestly, I think yes, Yuga deserve credit, and there should be more credit going to them than that currently goes to them. But I also think that if you guys don't want to seem as a closed community, the like you also need to look at that heritage as a time in the past and try and just accept the fact that there were things that went right, things that went wrong, and regardless, now it's really about what you do here. And I think other side is again one of the most exciting things about this industry right now, and it's going to take a while to do, but I think Garga's doing a great job of that now, and I would love nothing more than Garga to start moving the space forward again and start making those decisions that other teams get to replicate. Because Spencer says this, I think it's literally in the clip at the top that you shared, and thank you for sharing that on the podcast, Cap. But he says they would not, if whatever they do, however they succeed, they could not do it without Yuga, Pudgy, Doodles, and the things that they have done. So in terms of credit, like he's it's one of the first things he says is like, look, there's no way I could do any of this without what Yuga have done. So I think it's such a heated conversation for something where I love Yuga. Like I absolutely love it. It's like it's so weird to me.
January 29th, 2026, spaceships and oranges have entered the CWC lore. Thank you for that, Jack. That's the best thing that's come out of this first hour of the show today, is we now have spaceships and oranges. If you hear this referenced in the future, you'll get the inside joke if you're here today. Thank you for that. That is, and thank you to Zane. I dropped Zane's quick doodle in the chat. I hope Zane didn't mind. I'm not supposed to out the war room, but I had to share that. It was in real time. You get a glimpse into the talent that is Mr. Zane. It's on for those that are viewing the video stream. It showed up, and Helpful Soul might be on this. This is what I mean. If anyone has Spencer's ear, I'd play an Apples vs Spaceships game. Certainly now. That's hopefully that's what this BIRB game we're getting ready to see today. I agree with that. I don't disagree with most of what was said. A very different time, and I don't think any of that can be replicated. I do love to see Garga supporting the BIRB launch. I do think I heard Luca's take recently, and I do think it would benefit all for them to work closer together. I think we've gotten mostly out of the PvP stuff, but this is trying to think the best way to say this, because I respect what Garg is building and all that he's doing, and I do think they've made tremendous strides in building Other Side, which is arguably the biggest swing anyone's taken in, at least from the NFT native brands. It's massive. It's very hard, and I'm rooting for it, even though I'm not in there every day. I think as I reflect back on that period of time and what we see today with a lot of these, it's not just a TGE, but a lot of launches, a lot of activations in the space. Oh, bad news. Bad news. The BIRB game does not include oranges and spaceships, Jack. But thanks, JK.
That was really off the cuff as well. Oh, sorry.
I think I agree with Meta here. I think that the 2026 communication channels are broken in crypto, and it makes marketing very, very hard now. We need to fix this. What I was going to say is, while I'm all for professionals in the communications and PR and marketing space like Steve. And I meant what I said. I think Steve and Adam Hollander have changed the public perception on OpenSea from the crypto Twitter world like a 180. I know there's some people still that will FUD their rewards program and stuff, but it's a rewards program. TGE is coming. I'm going to hold any future comments on TGE till we see TGE. But for the most part, they're dialed in when it comes to comms and marketing and PR. They're doing an incredible job. While I'd love to see more crypto native teams bring on people like Steve and Adam in leadership roles, not an afterthought, not just a crypto Twitter intern. No offense to the meme lords out there. Those also have a place, but it's not everything. And some founders just have that natural gift. Some have that background and they don't need that people on their team. I think many of them would benefit greatly if they had a communications professional on their team. All that to be said, I truly believe a lot of the magic back in that period of time, leading up to TGE, shortly following TGE, getting into the other deed mint, Gordon's a one-of-one. He's very missed, not just in the Bored Ape Yacht Club ecosystem. I think in the crypto native, especially the NFT native space, because while people like to say, oh, everyone just copied Yuga's playbook. Sure, a lot of people did for a while, and now it's like they don't want to do anything Yuga did for some reason, even the stuff that worked. I think what doesn't get enough credit, and I don't know this for a fact, this is just part of my speculation for being in that community for Mint and what I believed was a driver behind a lot of that communication was Gordon. And not only did he was one of the first to really build in public and communicate frequently on the timeline and Discord. How he did it wasn't necessarily the buttoned up corporate, no offense, Steve, that wasn't the buttoned up Fortune 500 comms marketing professional. He got CT. He understood crypto culture as good, if not better than anyone in the NFT space. And they leaned into that. They leaned into that like fuck it Saturday. Like you think back now, like maybe you can't pull that off in today's age, but they'd be communicating different. He would be communicating differently, I believe, if he was still able to do what he did back then today. And while I'm going to beat the drum that more comms and PR people would be helpful, I also think that he was a very much so not even a secret weapon, but he played a huge role in the Don't Fade Yuga, in the communications, the execution. And I think a lot of us, while yes, it was 4 years ago, it's 4 years ago. And I think a lot of people have forgotten the impact that Gordon Goddard had on that ecosystem and how well they executed. And you can call me an ape homer if you want. I don't care. Like it's not gonna change me. But they lost, I'd say go further, they lost actually 75% of their leadership team. No offense to the other two, who I think after post raise they took their buyouts and left. It really was there was 4 founders. For all intents and purposes, it was Gordon and Garga were the 2 leaders of that organization. And I don't know Gordon personally. It's not like we text or trade frequently, but it's like there's not many people in my life I would say like, man, like I care about him as a human being. I love Gordon Goddard, and it was one of the most treasured founders of all time. He was a foundation of that brand, of what they were doing. Yes, the past, the past. I miss him too, Dort. And I think I would be remiss if we talked about that era of Yuga and how well they executed, not just giving the team credit, without giving Gordon credit. And for those that weren't here at that time, like, man, it was something special. I don't even know how to quantify. I don't know how to put it into words, but if you're here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He was truly a one-of-one. He was, we haven't seen anyone even remotely close to him in the NFT space since. And this isn't a shot at Garga. They're very different personalities. They're very different people. And maybe he's just, you can't replicate that. And we can talk about the market caps, the bull market, the golden era of NFTs. Did that play a role in their success? Sure. But I do think Gordon played a massive role in their communications And that, I think, is what is sorely missed. Not just the communications, but the execution, the things like the token sinks. Like he understood DeFi. He understood crypto. He understood this stuff that we kind of see a lot of people just mailing it in. And we're just not even going to try to do these things because it may not work. And they took a lot of shots and not all of them landed, but you just never heard. And yeah, maybe it was all just number go up. I choose not to believe that. I think it was as someone who was very close to it, I choose to believe it was far more than number go up. It was a lot to do with the execution and how they moved and how they communicated it. And did they catch lightning in a bottle? Yes. Were there a lot of things that played in their favor? Yes. I don't disagree with any of that. I also think that the team, in particular, Gordon and Garga, deserve a lot of credit for what they did. And instead of hating on Yuga because of what has transpired since, I think looking back to that time, like, don't take my word for it. It's all public. It's all on Twitter. You can go into the Discord and see a lot of it. Go back and look what they did in the days and weeks leading up to TGE, in the days following TGE. Like, I did this not too long ago, and there was things I'd even forgot about. The whole Benji Banana games with Animoca. Like, it means nothing in hindsight, but at the time it was something that no one had done before, and Animoca is still, but at the time was a massive brand in the space. The launch of the DAO, the people they brought on board at the DAO. Maybe it was all just because the numbers, and they were all just in there for a paycheck. I don't know. But what I do know is they did a lot, and it wasn't. Some of that I do believe is replicatable today. Removing market caps, removing the sentiment of the market. I think the building and public piece, the communications around it, and it's hard. It's really hard to build in this space. You're never going to make everyone happy. I think that instead of grouping, where this conversation started this morning is I saw a lot, like literally dozens of posts that tried to group the ApeCoin TGE in with Anime and Dude yesterday. And yeah, that did get under my skin a little bit because I was here for all of them. I participated in all of them. They were not the same. They were, to Jack's point, that was like comparing spaceships and oranges. All execution was extremely different. And if you just look at the days leading up to and the 48 hours post TGE, none of those others even came close to what Yuga did. Not even remotely close. Don't take my word. Go back and look at their timeline. Go do an advanced Twitter search and look at everything that came out from that handle on the days leading up to it. I had the chart pulled up here earlier, and this isn't like I'm not making it up. Like it was very real. And a lot of it had to do with what they communicated around TGE and the sinks and the token uses they did. And I'm not saying that people should do the exact same things, but I do think there's a lot of good that could be replicated from that. ApeCoin launched on March 17th. It opened at $1. In the first 2 days, it did $10 billion of volume. It closed day two at $12.96. The other side got announced on March 19th. So it did a quite literally a 13x. Oh, by the way, at the same time, the NFTs also went up. Now, you could say that was just because of the market at the time. Maybe the $10 billion in volume was a lot of new buyers. The holders weren't even thinking about selling. A lot of new people were flooding in because of the excitement. They gave reasons to buy and hold the token. They gave reasons to speculate on the token. And candidly, I just don't think we've seen that executed very well since. It's too early to tell on BIRB. This isn't even a BIRB conversation. This was more everyone who said, oh, Azuki and Dude, or Anime and Dude and Ape were the same. They weren't. Hard stop. They were not. They were very, very different on the execution. And I think you mentioned like Spencer doing the game. I'm excited to see this. I think this is wise. Give your holders a reason to hold. Give others out of the ecosystem a reason to come on and buy the token. Might some just come buy it because number will go up and they just want to speculate on a token? Maybe. I think there's a lot of people that are still active in the NFT space that are looking for reasons. They want to speculate on something real or something that at least has something that isn't just, oh, number might go up. And sometimes simple games are that. There's people they invest in a lot of dumber things than simple mobile games. You know, Steve mentioned, Dookie Dash and all the others that came following. And did that stick? No, but it created a lot of excitement and buzz and captured attention in this space. We all know attention's fleeting. I think if you think anything that gets launched is going to last forever in crypto is probably misguided. We got to look in, like, I would say month-long timelines, but sometimes it's week-long. I would like to see more of that, maybe some new novel ideas. But I truly believe if someone is launching a TGE in 2026 and they want to throw everything that Yuga did out with the bathwater and say, oh, that didn't work, I think you're doing it wrong. I think there's things that they did around that launch that could absolutely be replicated. And I'm not saying it's easy, but there's things that could be done that things might play out differently. Maybe I'm maybe I'm wrong. Maybe even ones who would say, oh, well, Pingu was just a meme. Yeah, but pretty quickly after Pingu launch, you knew you were going to get extra XP on Abstract. Like, there's a reason I still hold Pingu in Abstract, because I'm getting extra XP over there. There's a reason for me to hold Pingu. There's a reason I should probably buy more Pingu. At one point I did. I maxed out my XP over there because, like, there's things like that. You call it a Ponzi if you want. I don't care. I'm looking for a reason to buy these tokens. Right now, my reason to buy is there's going to be a lot of volume, so I think I can make fees off LP in it. That's not going to last forever. So after the rush of volume dies off, why else should I buy and hold this token? I don't know. I'm asking, and I think more of that would be a net positive to the space. Jack said, "Oh, I want to invite my friends and family into the space." I'm personally not going to do that off of just speculation alone. Off of, oh, buy this token because it might go up. Same thing with Jack. I had my friend in real life, friend, my brother. I split another deal with my brother. It's the only thing I think I've ever told him to buy in crypto. Actually, the Moonbird mint was something else. I had some in real life friends made 6 figures on minting a Moonbird. They hit on the raffle and they flipped it for $100,000. I'm looking for reasons to bring people into the space. I need help in doing so. And giving me a reason other than just speculating on number go up would help me onboard more people to the space. Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, Cap, I'm so with you on this. I think there is so much like trauma from 2021 that we have thrown the baby out with the bathwater.
22 and beyond, I think there was trauma. I don't know if there's any trauma.
Sorry, 2022.
21 was right. 21 was the literal gold rush. 21 is like you could have been like, if we had AI agents back in 2021, you would have had multi-million-dollar agents just buying and flipping NFTs. Like it was a literal gold rush that I don't think will ever replicate again, at least not in NFTs.
Yeah, no, you're dead right. 2022 and beyond. I think. Look, I just think we threw the baby out with the bathwater, and I think the thing I really resonate from your take there is I romanticized that time too, and I didn't even hold an ape. So the FOMO of not being a holder during that time is, that's going to be crippling. It's one of the reasons why I do want to see it come back, because I was super early, just a week or two too late for Bored Apes. And I think, look, royalties need to come back. And I'm really, really pissed that I had a conversation with Spencer about this the other day, and he was just so logical in the fact that, look, if the market comes back and this works, then a marketplace will come back and undo it again. Like, the fact that we can't construct royalty enforcement in a way that it can't be undone when we literally have Bitcoin as a digital asset that cannot be undone. Someone smarter than me explained this. Is it just because if it's Ethereum, or because if we can't, build a contract that just definitively does this and puts a squash on the idea that a new marketplace can just come in and undo it? I really think that's a big, big negative with the space, that we got rid of royalties. I also think,
can they? I help me understand that. I don't think they can on some of the new contracts. I think it's coded into the actual
that was what. So I don't understand it either, Cap. But that's Spencer seemed to be fairly, from the research that he'd done, fairly confident in the fact that this is just something that can be undone again. Just the way he didn't really realize at the starting line that
maybe so.
royalties.
I'm not a dev. I don't understand that far technically. Maybe there could be some new marketplace. They can find a loophole in the smart contracts that can bypass royalties. Maybe so. I actually think we haven't seen it yet, and there's a lot of that have made this move. And I also think that a lot of true NFT collectors and supporters of these brands, they're pro royalties. Go chat with the Good Vibes Club community. Go chat with the Chimpers community that just shifted. Like, people, I think, not isn't everyone going to be pro royalty? No, especially not the short term flippers and traders. But the short term flippers and traders have moved on. They're not buying NFTs unless they're farming a marketplace. They're trading perps. They're trading meme coins. I will push back on the fact that, oh, there's going to be a new marketplace spin up in 2026. That would be wild. Maybe so. I think OpenSea's won. I do. I think OpenSea's won the marketplace game. Are people going to go trade their fungible tokens on OpenSea? Maybe. Are they going to trade purples on OpenSea? Maybe. Maybe not. I think when it comes to the NFT marketplace, they've weathered the storm, and we'll see after TGE. But I think, like we've seen the success with Hype, like we've seen the success with Pump Fun, they generate real revenue. Like, they can support a token, and they can have ongoing rewards for a long time. And even without that, I still think it's become the default. Most people are still going to go to OpenSea. Like, I just think that, might that happen? Sure. But is that a reason not to at least embrace what's working now? And it's clearly working. Look at these collections. They're the best performing NFTs of 2026, and it's not particularly close. Those that have protected royalties.
I am in so much agreement on this. I've been beating the royalty drum for literally since they were removed. But I think it's also, like, look at CSGO. I think CSGO is a really good example here. You know, the video game that has a marketplace, but it also has royalties connected to it. Because let's be unless something that none of us can imagine happens, the volume probably won't be the same. Now, whether that means the asset price won't be the same, that I'm actually on a very small percentage side here. I think if we get everything perfectly, like, these assets were worth that much because of what we could perceive in reality could happen with these NFTs. I don't know why, with technology and everything that's coming in, that couldn't happen again in some weird and wonderful way. But the volume side, I think that goes. I would be so surprised if we had a moment where Bored Apes were both the value they were previously being traded at the volume that they were being traded previously. And I think that's where this royalty debate comes in, where it's just like, well, if these assets are worth tens of thousands, but the volume isn't the same, then what happens in CSGO is, once these skins get to a certain point, the guys they go OTC. My point is, just put the friction where the friction is, and if people want to avoid it through a difficult way to avoid it, then let them. But why would we not just allow as much friction as possible to something that benefits the space? And also, the intrinsic utility that then comes in, talking about things before Cap, you just don't give that person the access, right? Like, if they go and make a trade OTC and you can see that it has moved to a wallet and it's a different person, then and look, this isn't scalable, but I don't think NFTs necessarily are. I think the best version of NFTs is a close club where you do know, like, it's Cheers. It's, you know, everyone's name in that club. And I think that, yes, there will be people who slip through and people who lie through their teeth to get that access and that utility. But for the most part, I'm with you. I don't know why we don't just say, yeah, look, you're probably right. People will avoid it. But even if 50% do it to begin with, or like, even if we still have to find resolutions that come next with utility or with whatever, like, that's the next problem to solve. But let's not just say, oh, it's been broken, it can never ever be fixed. I'm so with you on that.
I agree. Shout out to Gordon. Long live Gordo. This was at Art Basel 2022, maybe. I'm not certain, but hope to run it back at the clubhouse here soon. Also, shout out to Big Cuz in the chat. Says royalties attract creatives, founders, and builders. Creatives, founders, and builders attract users. More users attract more liquidity. Royalties are a must. I agree. I know not everyone agrees, but I saw that play out. And then I saw, when royalties went away, I saw a lot of creatives leave. I saw a lot of founders leave. Some would say they rugged or they left because things got hard. But matters. I have a daughter who's an artist. The idea of ongoing royalties was exciting to me. It was exciting to her. Like, it's I'm going to beat on the royalties drum for Crocs when he listens to the playback later. But royalties, are they a must? Maybe not. Could you do this out royalties? Sure. I think it really is a net positive for NFT, PFP collections, and NFT digital art in particular. There's things you can build on chain without having royalties, sure, but there's like Jack said, there's ways to do it where it can be both. You could have options. There's ways to reward those who are on a royalty protected contract. They get extra utility and access that those who aren't don't. Like and I know it doesn't solve everything by itself, but I think it was a net positive, and I've seen things go the opposite direction once royalties went away, and it became even more hyperly financialized. A lot of the collecting, look at like not just grails and ultra rares, but rare traits and that sort of stuff. Like, it was a fun period of time to be collecting NFTs. I think royalties played a part in that. And once things became all more about farming for the next token, lost a lot of the collectability nature. And things are also cyclical. Maybe we never ever get that back. I think I choose to remain optimistic that it might. J Dunk bringing the heat in the chat today says limit break not only solved creator royalty problem, but also the app token solution, giving purpose or limitations to tokens. Absolutely unbelievable. Jim, Digidaigaku seems wild right now. Probably can't believe I'm saying this in 2020. Probably should have Gabe on the show sometime, because I've quite frankly ignored Digidaigaku for a while, but I will give them credit for solving the royalty contract piece. J Dunk also says the Moonbirds site is back up. Let's take a quick look. Ding, ding, ding. We're live. You're waiting to go do a Moonbird claim. Here's looks live now. Connect your Solana wallet. First, you'll be this will be the receiving for all claim tokens. So if you are awaiting a BIRB claim, now you should be able to do it. Not hopefully, fingers crossed, it stays up. Jack, have you claimed yours yet? Jack's probably doing it right now.
No, I haven't, but I was going to do a little video of it, but I think at this point, if it just works, it works. Yeah, I'll have a look. I'll let you know if the Moonbird is recognized now.
So after you connect, you got to connect your
the Sol wallet. And so basically what I think was happening was it was like double checking the Sol wallet. Even though the Sol wallet was for the distribution of the token, it was trying to source the Moonbird NFT in the Sol wallet too, although it was clearly not supposed to, and you still connected an Ethereum wallet. Or it was just completely down because the server just, was completely overloaded, and everything I've just said was total nonsense.
Yeah, so you want to connect not just your Sol. If you have a Moonbird, a Mythic, an Oddity. Actually, if you have any, I said some of those SBTs were on ETH too as well, right? Or no?
I think they've all been on Sol, but I could be wrong.
Well, so either way, if you have any Moonbird assets on ETH, make sure you connect your Ethereum wallet as well. Spinning a bit, taking a little while for eligibility to load up, but I will.
Me too.
I'll show you here. Hopefully, it comes through, and maybe there's an error, and we both get more tokens than we're deserving. We'll
wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah, I'll. That would be. That's a way to.
Have you, just sort of off topic, but sort of not as well. Have you seen the heat I'm getting? There's a founder of like a Monad project who took my comment about the fact that I would sell my soul for somebody to feed my coffee addiction, to mean that like all my bull posting, which was literally just posting the podcast on Spencer, was because I was paid like in BIRB, and now he thinks like I'm just the worst thing ever. It's really funny. I'm just at this point I'm just trolling, but it's hilarious.
Wait, repeat that again. I'm not even tracking.
So basically, there was somebody in my comments this morning from my post to be like, Jack, basically supporting Spencer, who's just rugged the whole space just to feed his coffee addiction. And I responded ironically and sarcastically with the fact that, look, I would sell my soul if someone would feed my lifetime coffee addiction. And then I followed that up in the same comment with the fact that I completely self-funded all the footage that was out there. I self-funded the travel, none of the founders I've interviewed IRL have paid a penny towards any of this. And now this guy is like, quote, retweeted that comment as like to basically paint me as like one of the ruggers that is connected with Spencer and the BIRB launch. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, people in this space are interesting. Looks like I only ended up getting 4 of the SBTs. Thought I had more than that. I'm down bad on the Kaido one.
So it's working for me now as well. Eligible NFTs, 1 NFT, and BIRB total 20,872, which is obviously divided by 24.
And that's for an OG BIRB?
For an OG BIRB, yeah.
Yeah, so I've just got the Mythic. It's 2608, so about 1/10 of
108. 108 for today. I get 869 today. Kind
of wild that a single SBT, single soulbound token, is more today than a Mythic or Oddity, but it's not the deal.
Oh, really? The SBTs
250
more
each.
of a distribution?
Yeah, SBTs looks like about 250. One is 249. The other 3 I have are 250. So,
jeez,
and
Steve would kill me. They did the Bodoggos one. I had 25 Bodoggos. Didn't claim a single SBT.
Oof. The other thing I'm not seeing yet, maybe it's just not hit yet, but I thought for sure the SBTs I got for, yeah, I don't think any of these are Zen, Tobin's, Pip, and BIRB. None of these are for the BIRB boxes. Like that, did we not get any tokens for buying that case of finals? Like why did I claim those SBTs if there's no allocation? Is it maybe it's just a miss right now?
But he did say there was a lot of stuff still going wrong with the SBTs and like their eligibility. So yeah, I know Kato and the Yaps was a similar thing where he said that was going to be resolved. So I wouldn't be surprised, but that's just speculation.
Again, it's not that deep, but there's going to be a lot of people pissed off, I bet, if there's no token allocation for those vinyls, those overpriced vinyls. They were fine. The quality was fine. But if I had known if there in fact is not going to be any token, I would have left the thing in sealed. I wouldn't have opened them. I only opened them and dealt with the bleeding eyes and the headache from the fumes to get token allocation. I'm kind of saying this tongue in cheek, but I think people are going to be pissed off if they don't fix that and give some sort of allocation. Maybe it's not 250. I would think it should be more than 250. Like that, we bought those because I think they even said you'd get BIRB token. No, or was that just entirely speculative?
I know sometimes it was like you had to have a number of SBTs to like qualify in certain instances. I don't understand that. Like I've not played this game. I've just explained, like even with Bodoggos, where they were really aggressively telling us we want these SBTs.
I'm even speaking here. I'm reading the details more. These are characters, right? You got BIRB, Pip, Tobbins, and Zen. Basically, this is part of the BIRB game. Is you can allocate the amount of tokens. Like I had 999 BIRB I could claim from the SBTs. And that's what was available to play in BIRB Game 1. So maybe those the 1,000, maybe, so I missed it wasn't 250 per SBT. I just got a total of 9,000 or 999. Maybe that was inclusive of those finals. And this is separate. I thought BIRB, Pip, and Tobbins and Zen were the names of the SBTs. That's not it. These are the characters in the BIRB game. So I misspoke. Please don't take that and run with it. I believe the 999 probably did include the SBTs that came with the vinyls. And now to play the BIRB game, you allocate to one of those, to all characters or one of the characters. Here's the game rules. Allocate your tokens across 4 characters in any combination. At the end of BIRB Game 1, the character with the most tokens allocated to them wins all the tokens from the character with the second most tokens allocated to them. The character with the least tokens allocated to them wins all the tokens from the character with the third most tokens allocated to them. BIRB Game 1 is BIRB EV positive. At the end of the game, an additional amount of BIRB tokens is added proportionally to all claims. So if I'm reading this correctly, I've got 999 BIRB tokens a day. I can claim them and not play the game. Or I can play the game and if I'm reading this correctly, I could lose all these, or I could win all. I could win. I could double my BIRB claim, maybe more. But I'm going to get another.
Didn't think you could lose. Spencer was really clear about that yesterday.
Yep.
There was no lose in the allocation. It was only possible gain.
Yep, that's how I read it as well. That at the end of the game, I'm going to get another 999 BIRB if I play the game. So it's like it's soft staking in a sense. It's like, hey, lock these up, play the game. We're going to give you more BIRB equal to that, but you could get of the 999 if you gamble with it. You could get more tokens or less tokens, but at the end of the day, after the game's over, you're going to get another 999 to probably play again. I don't know, but I like this. It's cool. It's something different. Thank you. That was my point earlier. Like, give us something to do with the tokens versus just sell them. Because candidly, now I guess my question is, I guess though, if I play the game, probably can't LP those tokens. That is my assumption. They're probably staked or locked somewhere. Is my guess. I'm gonna
it's a smart mechanic though, right?
Yeah,
like literally,
I like it.
Look, even if you feel the price is going to nuke, we're going to double the amount that you get if you play this game and lock them up for a little bit, just to stop the initial like flurry of sells. Like
theoretically, you could triple your tokens because you're going to get another equal amount. As I understand it, it's not entirely clear, but as I understand it, I got 999 tokens. At the end of the game, I'm going to get another 999 tokens, whether I win or lose the BIRB game. If I win the BIRB game, I can double my tokens. Therefore, I'm going to get another 99. So I basically triple my amount. There's a chance I lose, and all I get is what I have today. In that case, I'd be down if the number goes down. If the number goes up and I triple my tokens, then it's a big win. I like the game theory. This was my point earlier. More of this stuff, please. People, if you're dropping a token, please do some of this. You don't have to have it doesn't have to be a merch drop. It doesn't have to be an other deed or a virtual world land mint. Like, don't do that. But do stuff like this. Like, provide some game theory. Make us make tough decisions. Like, force me to decide whether I want to burn my Punks Comic 1 for a Founders DAO pass or not. Like, that stuff was fun. Like, we all know that there's a lot of gambling that takes place on chain and crypto. Why not lean into that and give us a reason to keep the tokens, to buy the tokens? Like, if you don't have anything, the only option is to sell or hold and hope number goes up. Most people, based on historical results of these NFT tokens, they're going to sell. It's just reality. But if you give them something like this, there's going to be some people like me, like, I'm not going to sell now. Like, what am I going to sell 999 tokens for? A steak sandwich? No, I'm going to play the game. I'll support them for taking a shot, doing something differently. Thank you, Spencer. Well done.
I can't find my tokens anywhere. Just now that I've like done the claim, I saw, like, obviously we were having a conversation, so maybe there's somewhere I just wasn't paying attention, but I did just see a ton of error messages. The NFT is now staked. When I go to claim, it says I have 0 to claim, but the token is nowhere to be seen. And when I go into explore nesting, it says my token allocation total is 0. Total available to play BIRB game 1 0 BIRB. So yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to see.
Spencer just out a tweet said anyone who is trying to grift off his token announcement, and especially anyone who posted a podcast of him, you get all your tokens nerfed.
Oh, okay, that will be why then. No, that's fair. That's fair.
I kid, but if you missed it, Jack does have a great interview with Spencer pinned up top. Go bookmark that for later. I'm just catching up.
Yeah, and also comment if you comment. What was the coined term that we've come up with? Cap spaceship and oranges.
Yep, spaceship and oranges.
Yeah, if you comment spaceships and oranges, then I don't know. I'll figure something out to do with that, because that apparently with the algo now gives you a 75 plus on the thing, and I just think it'll be hilarious to have this like now coffee with Captain Coin thing just absolutely spammed in the comments. It'll probably end up actually deboosting the whole thing, because it'll look like spam, but I still think it'll be funny.
Someone asked where the claim site is. Yeah, just go to let me do this. I will post the Moonbirds official account. I don't want to say a link in case it's incorrect, but it is claim.moonbirds.com. But instead of trying to type that in, I strongly recommend just go to the official account, click through. I'll pin it up top here in a second. But you just want to be double, triple check you're going to proper links on this sort of stuff, and especially on a claim day, a TGE day. This brings out the scammers. They know a lot of people's trying to claim and stake their tokens, don't respond to any DMs. Just go to the official account. I'm pinning that up top right now. BIRB claim and nesting 2.0 is now live. It's the only official site. Do not trust any other links and stay safe. This server's still going crazy. I'm probably going to. I try to change for this. It's not. I'll play around with this after I get off the show. It's not. I don't want to keep everyone here. I do like it. I like that there's something. I like that it's somewhat gamified. I like that there's something to do with the tokens. I like that I can win more tokens, and I think this is all good. Is it perfect? I don't know, but this is better than nothing. And I also think, as we talk about other TGEs, I know it's very, very different, but it gets me thinking about what Mega ETH is doing with their season 1. Public mainnet goes live February 9th. That was announced yesterday. They used the English. I didn't realize this was also a heated topic on the timeline yesterday, was the format they used for the dates, because I believe Jack and the fellow Europeans do not speak like this or do not put dates. Jack, how would you read this day? Now, I mean, I've spoiled it. I've kind of front ran the question here, but how would you say this date 2/9/26? What day, month, and year is that to you?
That is the 2nd of September, 2026, Cap.
Yeah. So in the US here, for some reason, we're the weirdos that go day, month, year, or sorry, month, day, year. So it's actually, I think Brad confirmed this is actually February 9th of 26 is when public mainnet goes live. And what they announced previously was that their first season of rewards was going to be was going to be, kind of like this BIRB TG, in the sense that they were going to reward participators. They were going to reward those that were active in the ecosystem. And without knowing all the details, I think that's good. I think it's good to not just give anyone and everyone who wants to go farm a new chain or a new ecosystem token allocation. Let you at least prioritize those that are supporting your brand already. Maybe they're just there to farm as well, but they've at least showed some vested interest prior to the time the season goes live. There was some SBTs on ETH as well. JK and Zane both added that. Thank you for clarifying. Jada, I don't know what Monty Hall theory is. Jack, are you familiar with that one?
Monty Hall, what?
Monty Hall theory. I have no idea what that is.
No, Spencer did reference it the other day as like a way that you would get leverage. But the Monty Hall problem is mathematically related closely to the early free prisoners problem and to the much older Bertrand's box paradox. Is this okay, so this is going to sound really weird. Have you seen Takeshi's Castle?
Nope. Okay,
basically 3 doors. Which one do you choose? Have you seen the film about poker? Which one? It's a really big 21. Have you seen 21?
I think so. I've seen a few poker films. I'm pretty sure I've seen 21, but not certain.
So Kevin Spacey talking to, I forget who the younger actor is, and he's like, you got 3 doors, and there's like a brand new car behind one of these doors. The other doors, there's goats. I give you an option to pick out of these 3 doors, and you pick one of the doors. Now the game host says, okay, I'm going to give you an option to change the door. And do you take that option? Now people are like, no, because he's only saying that because, he knows what's behind the door, so he's trying to throw me, all of this. But actually probability dictates that by choosing one of the other 2 doors, you're greatly increasing your chance of it being the car just through maths. And go and watch the clip, but that's basically what this is. It's like this math theory where your gut reaction or your gut instinct to these options being removed from you to get the grand prize shouldn't play any role in your decision making, and the winner will be the person that just stays to the statistics and to the math.
Like I said, I love it. Give me some more game theory. 21's about blackjack, but you're getting a pass because you're British. Maybe they call it poker up there.
They do.
War Room is on one today. I appreciate all the jabs. Probably well deserved, but I don't care. I'm not gonna hold back on this stuff because I know a lot of these things I said today was objectively right. You can't prove otherwise. Also, Dort added the game rules. Allocate your. Okay, we read that a little bit ago. Be careful. They're trying to get you to stake your tokens in a game by default and claim to wallet. Circumvent doing this. Button isn't working. But you can't claim if you didn't want to stake them in the game. That I think maybe it's just not fully live yet. Also saw one SBT was worth 10 BIRB, so maybe I did get a lot for. I kind of wish we had a breakdown because I'd like to know what I'd like to know what I just trying to do math. Did I make money or lose money on the vinyls? I think I lost money. I'm just gonna have to chalk that up. But I'm gonna play the game. Like, I'm not gonna cash out for a steak sandwich. I'd rather support the builders and play spaceships and oranges. Someone if this was 2021, Jack, in about a half hour we'd have a mint going live that was spaceships and oranges.
You'd think actually it would be easier today, right? Have you seen all this stuff with Claudebot and like AI agents that can code for you?
Oh yeah.
Like if I wasn't an entire boomer and I bought the Mac Mini cap, like we talked about this the other day. Sorry, I forgot. But like I would already be telling Claudebot right now, build me a game called freaking Spaceships vs Oranges or Apples vs Spaceships, whatever I said. Gonna have to go back and listen to that now. Yeah, I will just say on the Monty Hall thing, I would. It sounds like if I understand that from the film 21, and you should just go watch that like section. There's probably a clip you could just search. It really does explain it very well. I would definitely be using AI in this front, and I would just be telling AI this problem has been announced. This Monty Hall theory or this mathematical equation takes place in this game in some way, and then every option that the game gives you, I would just be asking AI in purely probabilistic terms, what decision should I be making here? In purely mathematical, non, gut reaction decision making, what should I make here? As it feels like that would be the play. Although when I did speak to Spencer the other day, we were saying, look, are the smart people going to really win on this game, or are the dumb people? And he seems to think the dumb people were going to do better.
I'm excited. I'm excited to learn more about the Monty Hall theory today. I'm all about probabilities, and I should actually probably know this by now since I've spent so much time and capital in the world of DFS and best ball, and I think very much those are the games haven't been solved. Maybe they'll never be quote unquote solved, even with all the simulations and stuff now. But I think game theory matters, especially in things with large tournaments or a lot of participants. It is often plus EV to take lower probability if less people are doing it, depending on the payout. If the payouts are equal, maybe not the case. But if in the case of a lot of the things that I do with game theory, poker similar. If the prize pool is heavily weighted at the top, well, I'm not playing for a min cash to double my money. I'm paying for asymmetrical returns, and therefore it's better to bet on the outcome that less people are betting on, even if it's slightly not optimal. If it hits in, 10 times out of 100, but the payout is far greater, the payout is 10,000x, and 90% of the people are on the other side of the equation. Give me the 10% all day, because over 100 rolls of the dice, I'm going to win. Anyways, excited to learn more about Monty Hall theory. Probably watch a video or two, and I'm going to be thinking, my homework tonight is going to be wondering how I can incorporate spaceships and oranges in the show tomorrow. Jack, go ahead. I will. Let me ask you this: so Wealth Creator says 4 SVTs got 48 BIRB. So that tells me that the boxes were a lot of BIRB. That's good to know. Jack, do you have? I only ask because I need to do a quick mobile stream drop here. So we can either shut the show down in 60 seconds, or if you've got 60 seconds to talk, I can mute my camera and come back, and then we can go till 10. How do you have 90 seconds of air cover? I can go relieve myself.
I think so. Like, if not, I'll just start reading the best comments from the DGen network.
Perfect. I appreciate you. I'll be right back.
Cool.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, look, I just wanted to give Cap and you guys alpha, because Cap will still be listening to this as he reboots or gets his coffee. During the podcast with Spencer, there was this one moment that now is sticking in my brain from the interview that I think is relevant to this game if you are going to play it, where Spencer talks about a lot about the overinflation of meme coin traders and the value that they are given in terms of how they came across that money. You know, like, should you trust somebody who has a profit and loss of like $50 million over the past 12 months, but they made 30 million on Trump and they've given it the rest of it back because they just got not lucky, but they made one good trade? Like, is that enough experience, and is that enough to you then to follow that person into the trenches for the remainder of their trades? Obviously not, or it should be obviously not. Now, one thing that a lot of people get wrong in the crypto space, and he says this much better than me, you can go find it in the podcast, but I will stop plugging it. I know you guys are getting pissed of that. He says that, look, if one thing about crypto more broadly is you can be right a lot, but because the space is so new, just because you're right doesn't necessarily mean the outcome is going to be more money, you know? And I think if you have a 1 in 10 chance of getting a 20x, you should take that bet every time, right? Because even if you lose 9 times, the windfall is basically double. So I think these two things are definitely going to play into the game. And then he uses a very specific analogy, which is when you go into a BlackRock, or if you go into a hedge fund or like any sort of stock floor, the guys will continuously make you flip a coin and just get comfortable with the profit and loss because it's a 50-50 chance. So they will just keep up in the bet, and you, through just understanding of mathematic probability, have to be comfortable with those bets, because that's how the stock market works. That's how it broadly works. If you're not comfortable knowing that if you just keep betting bigger and bigger, eventually that money will come back to you, then you really can't play in those streets. So you can go listen to him talk about this. He does a much better, you know, I'm doing this from memory. It was during our Basel, so it's like way over a month ago now. But that, to me, this is how this guy thinks. And I think mathematical probability and just knowing for certain at some point in time you are going to hit the number because it is skewed in your favor, but you might be wrong 19 times and you'll still make it back on the 20th. Or realistically, you might be wrong 10 times and make double back on the 11th. Like, that's something you're going to have to be comfortable with in this game, I think. I think that's going to be part of the theory, the game theory that he puts in.
Yeah, I agree. I'm here for it. Even if it's negative EV, even if I'm better to just dump the tokens today, I don't like. I'd still rather play the game and chase some higher returns. It's fun. Like, I'm here. Like, am I here to make money? Yeah, but I'm also here to have some fun, and I'd rather have some game theory incorporated more so than just number go up, number go down. We also have a correction in the chat, or a question rather. Diablito asks, wasn't the quote actually apples and spaceships? We need the.
I think so. I think it was. I think it was apples and spaceships, because apples and oranges, right? Like, that's, I think, what you started with. And I was like, no, Cap, it's apples and spaceships. I got really irate about it. So that's going to be really funny to listen back to.
If that is accurate, Zane, we're going to need a new doodle. We can't have spaceships and oranges if it was actually apples and spaceships. We need to get this correct. And actually, it's probably more appropriate for myself and my mispronunciation. And it's probably better to just leave it incorrect and call it apples and spaceships when Jack actually.
It's deeper lore. It's deeper lore. Yeah, this is only for the real.
This is like lore inception here. This is layers of lore. And if you are here and you hear me say either oranges and spaceships or apples and spaceships, you're going to know exactly what we're talking about. So yeah, we will play the tape back. We'll find the right way, or how Jack actually said it. The right way is going to be whatever I leaned into. But nevertheless, Jack, it's been a pleasure having you back on the show. We missed you. Always a good time. Thoroughly enjoyed the chat today. You had some great takes, and I hope everyone does well on their BIRB claim. However you're playing this TGE, whether you're just claiming and selling, whether you're claiming and playing the the BIRB, what do they call it? BIRB Game 1? Game 1, BIRB Game 1. And if you're also out there longing copper with me, I'm really kind of surprised. I need someone wants to help me with the copy here. There's a viral post. It's probably not going to come from me because I don't tend to go viral. Every once in a while, I have like a zinger once a year, but really surprised with this run up in copper. I'm kind of disappointed. We haven't seen a single take on how euphoric the crackheads must be. I'm actually this seems like a layup viral post that someone's. I mean, if like, unless I'm mistaken, I think crackheads go around to like construction sites and steal copper and then sell the copper, which is now running up in value. You're going to see crackheads driving Lambos here if copper continues to run. Am I right in thinking this, Jack? Like copper is
absolutely. As an ex plumber who had to fight a couple of crackheads for my copper, because that's how we do like plumbing in the UK. Like it's all through the copper. So no, that is true. And also a very true story. I've fought a crackhead, and that's not a position I would ever like to be in again. I promise you that.
Anyone wants bonus points today? Help me out with the copy in the chat. What post should I send regarding copper and crackheads and their euphoria right now as they see copper hitting all time? They probably don't know yet. They'll probably find out in like a week or two when they go to cash in their recent heist. But Maida says I would mint oranges in spaceships, but I would not touch an apple in spaceship. So maybe Jack inspired it, but we're gonna pivot slightly. Gary, I saw you jump up on stage. I saw Adam.eth that we talked about yesterday sold for 10 ETH. Thanks for the update on that. Anything else you want to get in here before we wind things down?
No, I just listen. I mean, I'm a domainer myself, and I like domain names. I like .com. I like .eth. I'm big into Web3, so I think it's really cool that if you have any blog, you can get your .com, your .xyz to show up in MetaMask. People can send you Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or NFTs to your .com or your XYZ, whatever. But the .eth is really cool. The .eth has a couple extra features that are really interesting. And this is my space, right? Like you guys know, I'm really big into ENS. And when I'm in this space, there's other domainers. And my big thing is that, it seems counterintuitive, but I actually want more normal people to be in the game to secure their name, to secure their brand. And I think a lot of people just aren't aware that these names expire, and people, are dropping valuable names. And so I just think this is really important. We talk about Grails, we talk about Web3, NFTs, token drops, airdrops, but this whole ENS.eth thing is like a real utility. I want people to not lose out, because when normal people come in, like you guys, like we here, we have our opportunity to secure our brand.
Gary, what's the best action? If someone has I'm talking to myself here. I've got ENS, a few of them registered, a few of them I purchased. I think now that you say this, I'm kind of having a mini anxiety attack, because a lot of them I probably did in 22, and I think I did 5-10 years when I did it, but there's a chance some of them are coming up soon to renew. What's the best way? Is there a way to get like an email notification or some way to be notified prior to them, other than, or do you have to go back and check everyone? Like, is there any sort of notification mechanism built into ENS that will email me or notify me in one way or another once they're prior to expiration?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways. For example, for my personal names, I have my Twitter account listed in my ENS name, and there's a bot that will ping me on Twitter because it knows the ENS names, and it can see my name connected to it. Before the Web3 stuff got really cool, I set reminders in my calendar, but now I have notifications inside the apps. There's the official app, the ENS.domains, but honestly, the very best website out there right now by Brantley.eth and ETHID crew is Grails.app. And if you go to Grails.app, it just gives you a really great overview of. There's a lot of data on like which names are sort of premium names or with their classification system. But I would either check out the official app, ENS.domains, check out Grails.app, and you don't have to log in. You can just put in your address or type in the name, and you can see the account holder and But Adam.eth, this guy has a Grail portfolio. I don't know what happened to him, but all of his names, he literally has $100 million in names. And just one by one, he's just letting them all drop. So it's really unfortunate.
Oof. So opportunities there. I mean, protect the domains you bought, but also some of these come expired. And it's probably not just Adam.eth. I'm guessing there's a lot of others that were registered in 21, 22 early on. Even if they did 5 years, those are going to be coming up soon to renew. And if they don't register them, you might find yourself a valuable domain below market value, and whether it's when you hold or could potentially flip. I'm shocked. I'm smiling because this is I don't know how I did this. I must have been under some sort of, I don't know. I must have been not me, because not necessarily this is like a procrastination thing, but I usually don't plan this far ahead. My Captain Z.eth that I registered on November 8th of 2021. For some reason, I decided to register it for 17 years. It doesn't expire until January 18th of 2038. No idea why I did that, but yeah, the anxiety is gone. There's no chance of this thing expiring for a couple decades. So or at least
that's very cool. Yeah, it's only $5 a year if it's 5 characters or more. And I suppose a little bit of alpha for people that don't know.
In 2021 that I was registering domains.
The ENS app, we all know and love it, but ENS is about to move to a layer 2, and they're about to launch ENS V2.
Interesting.
ENS V2 is going to be the core anchor app on this new layer. I don't know if it's a layer 3 or layer 4, but it's called Namechain. It's going to be the ENS layer, EVM layer called Namechain. And that's built on top of Nethermind, which I'm pretty sure is like a ZK layer 2. And so it's really, we saw what happened last time, ENS came out and it had an airdrop, and the fact that they're completely revamping the system for interoperability between mobile, MetaMask, cross-chain interoperability. So your .eth or your .com will literally work on any chain and every app instead of the minor technical limitations it has today.
What L2?
The ENS labs, they're putting ENS V2 on their own L2.
Oh, okay.
Their own L2 is called Namechain.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
And then Namechain, they were going to do it on Linea, but they pivoted away from Linea, and now I believe they're working with Nethermind.
Awesome. We'll more on that soon. I do got to get running here, but I was doing some quick math in my head at 27 cents on the token currently. I know a few of those 999 were the soulbound tokens, but let's say it's 900, about $300 for the vinyls. So the vinyls are like a break even. So the vinyls were free essentially if you claim and sell your token now. So well done on that. Congratulations to Spencer and the team for getting things live. Congratulations to everyone out there claiming today. Have some fun with the games, and excited to follow along and see what's next. And appreciate Jack and Steve and Fun Front. Sorry we didn't get to you. We'll might have moved on from this conversation tomorrow, but would love to hear your take on the rest of this. And Gary, thanks for keeping us up to date on all things ENS. That said, hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful Thursday, and we'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time. By the way, if you wanted to get more on and I'm already drawing a blank on the name, more on, what the hell is that theory called? The Monty Hall problem. If you want to get more on that Monty Hall problem, that there's a video clip pinned up top. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. I'm excited to watch that myself. But have a wonderful day, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow at 8. Thanks again.